So we've just found out that there's been a cluster of COVID in South Australia where we're meant to be going back tomorrow from Tassie. But it sounds like, because it's been a cluster, like yesterday, we're going to have to quarantine here because we're still sort of unsure, but it's come out that if you're in Tasmania and have been in South Australia at any time since Monday the 9th of November, you should immediately self-isolate in your residence or accommodation.
I've arrived.
Look who's made it, finally, to Hobart. Our amazing rental Hyundai. I'm too sore to walk because my back and legs have given out. Lily's got all the energy, although she was up at 4 a.m, so she'll crash. We'll use that as an excuse to crash out as well. The bedroom's upstairs. I think my legs hurt too much to go upstairs.
It's
stay. It's not. So we're near the Hopkins Falls, the big tree walk that has, well, they said over 400-year-old trees. Yeah. Some of the contested biggest ones in the world. I think they just break triple figures. They're just in the 100 metres. We did the walk. I did the vlog before, but my hair looked really bad, so I've done it again in case it flicks in and out. But it's absolutely incredible. Just the size of the trunks, and I guess seeing them fall off and fall over and everything.
A little lifetime too.
So 400 years before Tassie was discovered by us. How good.
They are incredible.
Sun's just about to go down over Mount Wellington in Hobart. We're at Kangaroo Bluff, the old battery, because they thought that the Russians were going to invade Tasmania. It would have been an awful accomplishment. So there's this battery, like artillery battery, and then another one on the other side and another one further down that all mutually support each other in case the Russians came through this bay, which never happened. But, you know, at least I guess you're better safe than sorry with these big, like 10-inch guns. All the borders have just closed. It's all escalating while we're here. We're waiting to see. We're going to get stuck for sure. Literally as we're packing to go home.
I know.
We're literally packed, ready to go, but we don't know. It's a bit unfair because, well, the biggest thing we're worried about is who's paying, particularly probably for the accommodation, because it's not super cheap. You know, we can afford this for a couple of days like we have, but definitely not 2 weeks. We're sort of thinking, well, I get it if you come into a state that's locked down, yeah, you should pay for where you have to quarantine, but if they then make us isolate, then that's not really our problem. But I'm waiting for a call from the government, and we'll see how this all unfolds. But it's definitely turned this little trekking holiday into maybe a bigger epic than I originally even thought that was.
So, obviously, because your girlfriend arrived after the 9th of November, she will be required to self-isolate at the residence or accommodation that you guys are staying at.
Yeah.
And our advice would be, just because you've been with her as well, that you also quarantine. At this stage, you are fine to fly home tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit more information regarding people leaving and things, but our current advice is that you're absolutely fine to leave.
That's a massive relief. Poor Lil's almost in tears, but we can get home tomorrow, we think, if nothing else changes. But we will see. It doesn't make sense, like all of this, but, you know, as long as we can get home. The big decision today will be if they will let us out of Tasmania and back into SA or not. So let's hope we don't get locked up from the airport for 2 weeks, because apparently it's only advice from the Premier, but we've all heard what advice is before. after a worry if we're going to be let back in the state or not. Thank God they let us in with no worries at all. We filled out the application on the plane that we're just coming from Tasmania, so it's no problem at all. And we're residents, and the volunteers there, along with the AFP, like federal police, were quick, smart, straight through, no issues. Bags first out. I reckon we're first out of the airport of our flight. So that's awesome to be finally home and return to work tomorrow, I guess. What an absolute journey that turned into a bit of an interesting adventure at the end to see if we could get home or not when I'm due back at work. But thank God. All I can say is thank God we're home and that we're not going to be stuck here for the next 14 days doing quarantine. Luckily for us, there's no quarantine, but I reckon if we left in a few more days, would have been good odds of one. Got home, my first day back at work, and I've been sent home because I'm a high-risk case because South Australia has just imposed the hardest lockdown that we've seen in Australia so far. So we're hard lockdown 6 days, no one out, nothing.